Good evening. Welcome to DecodedSeries.com. This is a special part of our series called Decoded Biblical Series, and we are covering the manuscript of the Biblical Decoded series. This is part 3. The belief in the Bible is selective. My personal thoughts are the Bible has been numbered by the generations on purpose. I don't think this is symbolic, but a literal message. The Bible is saturated with numbers and obvious details of bloodlines and ancestors. This is a detail which only reinforces the biblical history is dated and is expected to be read and understood exactly as presented. The biblical dates do not match the beginning of earth and mankind. This is a simple thought, but it is largely ignored. Therefore, this would make God a fraud. The blunt reality is the blunt reality is humans existed long before the biblical history. If we are to accept known history corrupted by God, then we are expected to acknowledge modern humans went from barbaric caveman to highly intelligent pyramid builders without any learning process. This is a conflict of difference and must not be ignored. Why has our past prior to the last 6,000 years been blanked from our historical memory? It is interesting both the Maya calendar and the time of the Egyptian pyramids era coincide with the biblical calculations. This does not reinforce existence started then, but instead confirms foul play from the invasions of the gods. Revelation unravels this mystery. It is a very important point because it does point out that there is a time blank between the cavemen and also the activities that happened prior to the biblical history.
Sure.
And there does appear, from what we have, that we've gone from barbaric to very intelligent pyramid builders. There seems to be, there's no learning process between those two parts. Now, it could well be that historical information was discarded and destroyed prior to the gods. So any information we actually have before the biblical creation is not available to us today because it has been destroyed.
Of course.
There is a history missing, isn't there?
Oh, enormous. Neanderthals and Cro-Magnon and, Homo erectus all the way back. Dinosaurs, no mention of dinosaurs in the Bible.
None whatsoever, is there?
Yeah.
Dinosaurs didn't seem to make an appearance. But the interesting part here too is that if our historical memory has been blanked, and we can't find out what actually happened during our barbaric development to our civilized development, then we do have a part of our history that is missing. Sure. And it would be very easy for someone to come into our world and then decide that they've created our world so that they could influence our world for the future. And I think this is quite correct. The idea of God is a fraud because he does only date back 6,000 years.
Sure.
Now, written history dates back about to 12,000 BCE, from what I understand. There is known archaeological evidence of written history.
Cave paintings going back before that as well, but yeah.
Correct. But the actual written form that we understand is because it seems to be like the cave drawings. Then they've moved on to the hieroglyphs, which is basically drawings as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Drawing out history and what has actually happened back in that time. But definitely there is an amnesia of history. Sure. From our books, and I'm not talking about us personally, but our historical books. There is a blank area. Now we can go through archaeological finds, we can depend upon what has been recovered and unearthed to give us an idea of our history, but we can't seem to get a grasp of what really took place beyond that. We can only really guesstimate, can't we?
Well, it seems to me that the thesis so far is some sort of interloper, be it from another civilization or someplace else, coming in contact with the origins of our culture.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
So history is replete with dictators and kings starting the clock when they come into power. Bang, this is year one. And everything else that happened before is nonsense.
Right. There seems like there's a start where the kings commence.
Sure.
But at that point when the kings commenced, they were building monuments.
Oh yeah.
Archaeological wonders, really,
that
they
Egypt,
built back in Egypt, or the Americas, or the China for that matter. there's these huge architecture back in antiquity. Now, you can't tell me that humanity went from in the caves hunting for their food and then suddenly building these absolutely overbearing size monuments, which is what they did in antiquity. So there is a space. There seems to be no gradual development, unless, of course, the space occupied by the pyramids around the world, whether they be in Egypt or the Americas or China, Australia, there are pyramids all around the world, unless, of course, the previous civilizations were built over
or
the
deliberately
existing ones.
aggressive societies, say Rome and whatnot, would come in and kill everyone and so corrupt the belief system of the conquered tribe, so it would be forgotten. So
It's only take about a couple of generations before they can wipe out people's memories, get rid of the history of that time. So it is very interesting. Something definitely did absolutely happen back in antiquity. And the idea of the God, I think the God concept is really a man-made concept. There's absolutely no doubt about that. But sadly, of course, people are believing it's this being up in the sky that's really looking after us, which I cannot quite gel with. Anyway, please join us for the next part. This is the end of part 3, and join us now for part 4. Thank you.